Alright, so there's something that people say a lot when they write me messages and who are not familiar with the situation. And of course people who are familiar with the situation have heard me talk before about like just talking about people's vaginas in general. It's really inappropriate. Just to be just in casual conversation or just in situations where there's just no reason for it to start talking about someone's vagina, or like approach somebody, it's the first thing you say to them. You know, like it's like anything else that would be just very, very offensive. It hasn't really. I guess I have to say that some things are getting better, somewhat better over the past, year and a half or so. You know, there seem to be fewer references to things like fish all the time. There seem to be fewer just like, conglomerate media and other people just like constantly talking about water, and that was really inconvenient. That was just like, it was just every other day they had something on the front page, trying to just talk about swamps and floods and rivers and like all this is just, I did not think of all this stuff. This was like just these really outrageous exaggerations that were just seized upon by the people, individuals, organizations, corporations, government to just do really it has served no purpose whatsoever. It's just they just decided to bully women, just decided to just have this entire thing that went around the world in terms of treating women like second-class citizens. Really, it was terrible, and there was no reason for it at all. No reason for it at all. Just all of this time, they've been doing all this stuff that doesn't make any sense. But there seems to be kind of less of it lately. It was terrible. Like the first few years, it was just nonstop. It was awful. That stuff seems to be getting somewhat better, although certainly it's very slow. It's a very slow battle. Apple has changed its billboards on the Pine Street Inn. It not just to stop saying shot on iPhone 6, and now to have pictures of fish. It's like, really? How many thousands of hours have I written and talked about these things? You just can't think of something else? Cannot think of something else to talk about. In all the world of things to talk about, you can't think of something else. So it was difficult. It was really. I've said before, it was very shocking to me at first to realize how much the people who put ideas out into the world and talk about them, particularly first the people in the entertainment industry seem to have no concept whatsoever. So many of them, prestigious people, prominent people, just seem to have no idea that you can't just be constantly objectifying women all the time. It was kind of scary, actually. It continues to be scary, and many of them continue to have no idea. After all this time, because there's still so much misogyny in, quote, the establishment at large. 228, the Cambridge Police are, I just saw. There continues to be so much misogyny in the establishment at large that they just kind of resurrected all that stuff, and made it stronger, and made it worse, and made it more vicious. And it's really dangerous. 3VG733, and added in child molestation, and just basically yet again set adult males at the center of the human universe, and everybody else is just, doesn't have any, is on the way to not having any rights anymore. So yeah, just in general, whether what you're trying to say, whether in your mind what you're trying to say is positive or negative, you can't just run up to somebody and start talking about the vagina, and expect it to be alright. It's not alright. Or just continue to have just kind of like make all these references in all these parts of just regular life where they don't belong. You can't actually get anything done that's worthwhile if you never stop talking about sex. It would be just as inappropriate if they were talking about like penises, but they're not going to do that. Because it's women who are objectified, right? It really is about not taking women seriously. It really is. Because one minute you can be talking about her vagina in what you consider to be a positive way, and the next minute she says something you don't like, and so you start talking about her vagina or making gestures in a negative way, and then you just basically effectively like just eliminate her humanity to you, you know, and to everybody present, you know, if they agree and or you're the boss. You know, it's just the way it is. That's the dynamic that happens, right? And even if at the beginning, you're talking about it in some kind of way that you consider to be positive, it isn't, because what is it? Because you're just kind of you're obscuring her. You know, you're saying there's only one thing about you that I have any interest in, and like the interest that I have has nothing to do with you as a person, right? It's something that I'm just saying about you. So all of that is really, really frustrating to have to try to explain to people over and over again. First of all, because they don't want to understand it. Second of all, even if they can understand what I'm saying, they don't care. And the world has been male dominated forever, so it's very hard to deal with that. Also, as far as like me in particular, and like I've never had any concerns about that. You know, I just have never had any concerns about that. Like, I know I'm normal. Like the way I smell, I know is normal. The amount of fluid I get, I know is also normal. It's all normal, you know, and everything that has been like part of torturing me and persecuting me is just this stupid, really nasty, vicious bullying thing. There's nothing. It has no truth to it at all, right? It has no truth to it at all. So that's really hard. It's just kind of like I'm not worried, you know, but I'm also not talking about it like unnecessarily to people. I'm not doing that, you know. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that.